Hey, welcome back to the channel. If you are a new tractor owner, you need to watch this video. So if you're a new tractor owner or you're an experienced tractor owner that's maybe a little bit lazy, you need to watch this. I manage the Compact TYM tractor page on Facebook, and I recommend that if you're not joined that page to join it. It's a wealth of information, a lot of great guys on that channel that have a lot of experience on tractors in general, and also specifically the TYM tractors. However, we get a lot of people that post and they're upset, and it's basically because they're new tractor owners. They bought a tractor and maybe the dealership didn't give them enough instructions, that they didn't have enough experience, and the dealer maybe didn't give them enough instructions of what to do, or they just didn't heed the warnings that they had. We get a lot of posts on the Compact TYM tractor page about new owners that are actually surprised that their loader boats come loose. So loader boats, they're not. This is not a car. A car rides down the road on a spring suspension. This engages the ground, and loader boats will work loose. You need to torque your loader boats at least every 100 hours. Come back and check them. If you feel something that feels off, check your loader bolts. Don't wait till you break one off. Also, the same goes if you have the backhoe. I noticed yesterday that I had a tiny bit of looseness in one of the bolts here. So today we're going to tighten up some bolts on the backhoe subframe. And these are things that you have to do. This is not a brand specific issue. I've owned John Deere's, I've owned Massey Ferguson's, I've owned, let's see what else, I've owned LS tractor, and I own a Coyote. I've owned a Coyote at one time. I've owned a lot of tractors over the years, and now we own TYM. Every brand, you need to check your loader bolts and your backhoe bolts regularly. It's just part of it. If you don't, you'll see, you can go to the Compact TYM page and you will see all these pictures of people that have broken boats because they kept going, and then it loads the shear onto the boat and acts like a bolt cutter and just shears the boat right off. So you have to load them, or you have to torque them if you want to keep them. So let's talk about loader pins and backhoe pins. So one of our new members on the Facebook page pointed out, he's put some pictures on and shows what can I do about this, and basically one of the pins was completely wallered out. So first off, you have to grease these pins every 8 hours. That's minimum. If you're going to use this, again, this is a ground engaging tool. You can see how dirty this is from just yesterday. I greased this thing up very well yesterday morning. We used it about 6 hours and it's filthy. So each day you have to clean these up and grease these pins. And one of the comments said that, well, that pin would not take grease. Well, at that point, when your pin will not take grease, your only course of action is to stop and repair that pin. I have a video out on how to clean out one of these pins. Every tractor, this is the same thing on every brand, so it's not specific to TYM in any way, form, or fashion. You have to maintain these, because the other option is $1,000 repair, and that's basically what that gentleman has, is a very expensive repair because he didn't stop to fix the pin when it wouldn't take grease, and it takes just a short amount of time, specifically if you're working around sandy stuff, because it gets into the joints and just acts like a grinder and grinds the pin out. You can ruin a loader mount in just a short amount of time. So Gizmo is supervising our maintenance. We've got him a place that he feels comfortable doing it. We're going to come at this next point, is how to grease a grease fitting. And I'm doing this, it's going to insult some people's intelligence, but I'm coming at it as if you've never been around equipment and you've never greased anything in your life. And there are some new tractor owners that are just that. They know that they want to have a tractor, they know they're going to develop their land, but they don't have the experience. And sometimes we as experienced people kind of shame people who don't know, like, well, how come you didn't know it? Well, we didn't know at one point either. So we're going to grease a grease fitting, and I'm going to show you how to properly do it so that your tractor will last you a lifetime. And if you do these these things, every time that you grease it, your tractor will last way longer than if you don't. So you want to clean your grease zert off, and the reason we call it a grease zert is because the gentleman's name was Zert who invented this. Grease fitting, grease zert, there's a whole bunch of different names for it. Now this is why it's so important to clean this off. There's a little port right here, and as the grease is pushed into this fitting, your grease gun can, depending on your grease gun, it can be up to 10,000 psi, and it is, if you don't clean it off, you can push small tiny pieces of abrasive material into the bushing area around the pin. And then when you're lifting loads up and down, that small grit is just like sandpaper, and it wears the interior of your bushing out very, very fast. I mean, you can literally, if you don't grease it in the wrong environment, a month you can wear a set of pins out. If you grease it and do it this way, this tractor's got 250 plus hours, maybe 270 hours of really hard use. I have no slop in my pins at all, and it's as tight as today as it was the day I bought it. So that's what you do. Now make sure your pin is clean. Now I ended up getting one of these Hercules. I went to the Harbor Freight. This Harbor Freight is going to kill me. We have a Harbor Freight in town now, and I'm going broke because of that. We have so many cool tools, but you also want to make sure that your fitting on the end is clean. You want to put enough grease that you see it push out the side. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of grease squirting out over on that side. Now what that does is it fills your around your bushing, or between your pin and your bushing, and it fills it with grease and pushes all of the dirty grease out. And that's what you want. Again, you want to grease this every 8 hours. Next thing we're going to do is tighten our loader bolts up, and you can do this one of two ways. Probably the most correct way is to use a torque wrench. We're doing field checking, and these are your loader bolts right here. And I recommend these being checked every 100 hours. You're going to need, let me kind of go through some of the tools you're going to need. When you're in the market for buying a new tractor, and let's say you are a first-time tractor owner, you've never worked around equipment, you need to think about not only the equipment that you're going to buy as far as the tractor, but the equipment that you're going to need to support the tractor. And I will recommend this. I'm an old-time mechanic. Been around heavy equipment my entire life, worked on heavy equipment my entire life. However, nowadays you can get a heavy duty impact gun that runs on a battery. I will recommend this over air impacts any day of the week now, because it's so mobile. I just bring my impact gun out to the field here and work on the tractor right here. I'm going to tighten these up. Yesterday we worked our tractor very, very hard, so I hadn't tightened these up in a good long while. So I'm just going to hit them. We picked this impact gun up at Harbor Freight. This is their Hercules. This is their Pro line. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Harbor Freight now has several different lines of equipment, or tools, and the Hercules line is their Pro battery power tools, and then I got some of their Icon sockets here. These are pro level tools. They're really high quality, and they don't break the bank. You still get a really good tool. The reason we went with these is because everything else that we have uses the same battery. So this same battery here interchanges between all the other tools that we have. And we did pick up and one of the new batteries is a 12 amp, which is probably better suited for this, but no more bolts than we're going to do right now. This is going to be great. But that 12 amp battery would let a full-time mechanic work all day with this. So this thing has several settings. It has a low, medium, high, and then bad to the bone. That's what I want to call it. So I'm going to put this on about medium and see if any of them will move. We don't need 1,400 pounds. That's the reason I put this on medium. I just want to make sure nothing's moving. Getting a good set of impact grade extensions is also good, and probably you might want a nice quality impact swivel as well. And for this case, we just need this long impact extension. So these bolts that we're going to tighten up are quite a bit smaller than the big ones. So I've turned the impact down all the way to lowest setting, because you don't want to strip these out or break the heads of the boats off. This may be one of those ones I need the swivel on. Yep, I have that swivel. So I'm going to run down a list of things that a new tractor owner you need to do every time. Number one, you need to periodically torque the boats on your loader. And if you have a backhoe, you need to torque the boats on the backhoe. Also, it's not a bad idea to go around and look at loose bolts on your tractor. Make sure there's nothing that's has vibrated loose. Every time that your backhoe or your loader engages the ground, it's a very violent action with a lot of torque and a lot of stresses that we don't see. We've been conditioned with our cars to just drive down the road for 6,000 miles, bring it in, have the oil changed in service, and we don't really do anything else. Automobiles, cars, and trucks, they don't deal with the violence of engaging ground. So this is why it's so important. Number two, grease your grease fittings every 8 hours or more if your manual tells you to. This small action of getting in the habit of greasing your tractor every use will make your pins last as long as you, just basically indefinite. This tractor again has got well over 250 hours, I think like 270, and the pins are just as tight today as they was when I bought the tractor. And I know other people who are very neglectful in their greasing of their pins, and their tractor's loader is sloppy. And that's why you have to do the maintenance. I think I'll combine 3 and 4 together, and these numbers are not in order. They all have to be done just as equal of importance. Check your oil in your engine every time you start the tractor, before you start the tractor. Check your transmission fluid every time before you start the tractor. You don't know that maybe while you used it last time that you hung an oil line and you've got a pinched oil line and it's leaking. You just don't know those kind of things. That's why it's very important to check this on a tractor. Again, you're not doing the same things with your automobile that you are with your tractor. You're rumping through the woods. As you see here, we're digging a bunch of dirt up. It's very, very violent compared to what an automobile deals with. So those are my things that you as a new tractor operator, you really must do these things. Listen, I hope this has been of value to you. And for all of my like really experienced tractor operators, if I forgot something, because I'm standing in front of the camera and I can forget things, leave a comment in the comment section of things you think needs to be checked as well. Again, this is not an all-encompassing video, but listen, hit that subscribe button. God bless. Have a great day.